choosing a perfect motorized slider for your particular needs. Zeapon Micro 3 E500 versus TopRig S60 slider by Accsoon. Let's review those. What's good guys, my name is Oleg Nikitin and you're watching No Limits On channel. So I've been using the Zeapon Micro 3 E500 for more than a year as for now. And I'm really enjoying this slider except for one thing. It is super heavy, and since I'm using the slider together with my lights and my cameras and all different gear like the tripods, etc. on my remote shoots, and I hate to bring it with me because of the weight and overall size of this package. So today we're comparing it to a much more lightweight and portable slider by Accsoon, the TopRig S60, which comes in this little soft pouch, which I do prefer because it fits into the pouch together with the motor. The motor is built into the slider, and now let's get into the comparison. So let's start off with the size of those two sliders. So if you move the Zeapon to the extreme corner, to the side of this slider like so, with the motor on this side, it will be around 60 centimeters right here. And the TopRig is exactly 60 centimeters and it doesn't change at all its length. As you can see, we have the double treble system on the Zeapon, and it produces quite a loud sound when it's set to the maximum speed on the body of the slider itself. So the weight of the Zeapon is 2.2 kilograms of the slider itself, 2.9 kilograms with the slider and the motor attached, 4.8 kilograms the slider, the motor and the cases. So one case, separate case for the motor and also the case for the slider itself, together with the support rods, which are not in the kit of the Accssoon TopRig S60. And also the TopRig S60 is 1.5 kilograms by itself, and in the case it weighs 1.75 kilograms, which is almost 2.7 times less than the kit of the Zeapon together with the cases. And it's a big difference, guys, at least to me, because my back isn't always perfect, as you might know. The Zeapon is a double distance slider, and as you can see, we have non-moving part underneath and the moving part above, and the total travel distance is about 59 centimeters, whereas the Accsoon, the TopRig S60, has 42.5 centimeters. But actually, guys, here are the examples, the test shots I did with the little ruler, and you can tell that the distance is almost identical, and I was really shocked by this fact, and I double checked it on a different setting at 28mm. Pay attention to the box and to my C-stand, and as you can tell, guys, the distance is more or less the same, at least to my eye. Please let me know down in the comment section below if you do think that I did something wrong, but at least to me it seems like almost the same. In terms of payload, the Zeapon is much more tough. It handles up to 12 kilograms in the horizontal mode and up to 4 kilograms in the vertical mode, whereas the TopRig S60 can handle up to 4 kilograms horizontally and 2.5 kilograms vertically. But to me, guys, since I'm using the mirrorless cameras like the Sony FX30, even if I use the on-camera monitor on top and a pretty heavy lens, I'm still more than fine at 2.5 kilograms range. In terms of ease of use and features, so if you plan on using the slider without an app, the Accsoon TopRig S60 is much more preferable because it has the play and pause button right here, the loop button, which you can use as a single loop or a constant loop back and forth. Also, we have the A and B points, which is easy to set right here. And also here we have the on-off switch button and the knob which adjusts the speed. So you only can adjust the speed with this knob. So here's the fastest movement, and here we have a little stop at the end of the slider for like 1.5–2 seconds. And then you can adjust the speed at really small increments, and here is the minimum speed, which is like 2, maybe 1 millimeter a second, not really fast at all, but for a precise movement like macro shots, it's more than fine. Also, we have a ton of mounting points on the sides for the support rods. Also, the support rods are not in the kit, by the way. Also, we have a lot of mounting points underneath, like 3/8 of an inch and 1/4 inch threads. And of course, we have the battery indicator right here, which is really nice, and it drains the battery super slow, because on this mid-range MPF battery I was filming for more than 6 hours and didn't lose a single LED point, so less than 20% of this battery, which is great. Zeapon Micro 3 is also pretty nice in terms of control elements, but it has less of those. So we have left and right buttons. If you press this button and hold, it will go one way. If you double tap it, it will go to the end. Also here we can adjust the speed, but only 3 settings, so the slow, the medium, and the fast. So let me show you the fastest one. So here we have the fastest one. Also the back and forth button, so the loop button basically, and turn on, turn off. Also a lot of mounting points, quarters of an inch. We have the supporting rods in the kit of the Micro 3, and all in all, pretty basic electronic slider, to be honest. TopRig S60 also features the internal built-in pan axis, so let me show you. As you can see, the camera pans itself right here, and you can adjust it with this little knob on this side and this knob on this side. You can tweak it with little steps, and you can basically have a parallax effect in your shots. And since it's mechanical, it's really, let me say, constant. It doesn't change whatsoever. On the Zeapon, we have a different system. You need to buy a separate Pons PT head or simply a pen head, so you'll need an extra battery, an extra device, and you can control it only with the app, which is not super convenient, at least to me, but it is more precise and you can program in certain different ways. The battery life is awesome on both sliders, but the Accssoon TopRig S60 drains only 0.5 watts of power, and you can use MPF batteries or you can use the 5-volt USB Type-C. You can also use the 5-volt USB Type-C on the Zeapon. You can also use MPF batteries, but it drains like 3 to 4 times more energy, so you gotta keep that in mind while using this slider. In terms of modularity, the Accssoon TopRig S60 is what it is, basically. So you don't have any modularity whatsoever. You only have this built-in pan axis for 55 degrees maximum right here, as you can see. And the Zeapon Micro 3 is basically super modular, so we have different modules like the pan axis module or the Pons PT head, which is pan and tilt head. So you'll have a pan axis, a tilt axis, and the sliding axis, so basically 3 different axes, but you need separate battery for each motor, and you also have to use the app and set it and control it with the app, which is not that convenient, at least to me, because I mostly shoot pretty simple stuff with a slider, like an interview to add a little bit of motion to an interview, or something like the plates and cups like I show you in this example, which is shot with the Micro 3, or simply some macro shots with a slider. So my usage of slider is really basic, and I simply don't need this beefy slider and with a ton of different features like pan and tilt and, you know, blah blah blah. In terms of the kits, they are more or less comparable aside from the rods that you have in the Micro 3, the support rods, but also you have an extra belt in both sliders, a tool to replace the belt, and the carrying cases, the hard shell case in the Zeapon, separate for the slider and separate for the motor, which I don't really like because it's super proprietary and you cannot put the slider together with the motor into the case, and you simply need to adjust every single leg of the Zeapon slider to make it fit the case. Whereas the Accssoon TopRig S60 is really nice and simple. You simply detach the battery and throw it into the soft case, and that's it. And guys, I totally forgot that the TopRig S60 has the bubble level right here, or the spirit level, which is super nice to have, and I wish all sliders had it somewhere like here or somewhere else, because it's really making my life easier. So here are the tests of the smoothness of those two sliders, because it's really important for a slider to have really smooth movement. And as you can tell, guys, I'm using the 90mm macro lens on the slowest settings on both sliders, but the Zeapon can go a little bit slower, so for macro shots it can be more useful, because TopRig S60 does move pretty slow, but maybe not enough for a macro shot that you are going to make. But in terms of smoothness, both sliders are great. Don't see major issues with either of those. At the slowest setting and the fastest setting, more or less fine, didn't find any issues, no jitter whatsoever, and I did turn off the steady shot in my camera. And both of those do have brushless motors, by the way. One more nice feature of the Zeapon is the built-in 5-step damper, which is nice if you want to set the amount of the resistance of your slider. And right now, guys, here I have my Rode Wireless Pro transmitter and microphone, and now let's test the noise levels of those two sliders at different speeds. Let's start off with the Accsoon at the minimum speed, so here we go. Let's get to the medium. And the fastest. Okay, that's fine. And now the Zeapon, the minimum setting on the body of the slider itself. Now the middle one. And now the fastest one. And guys, I'm sure you've heard the results. TopRig S60 is a much quieter slider. In terms of speed, the slowest one on the Accsoon is 1 mm a second and the maximum is 5 cm a second, and the Zeapon can go a bit faster at the fastest and a bit slower at the slowest speed. Both sliders can accept the remote control and you can make pretty cool time lapses with photos, but you do need an external remote control or a separate device to achieve that. The app for the TopRig S60 is really straightforward, so you can move your slider from one point to another, you can set the A point right here, you can move it to a different position, set B point, you can play this distance, and you can loop the system like so. And it is what it is, basically nothing else. You can go into the time-lapse mode, but it's better with the remote control, of course. And also you can calibrate the slider, but you can also calibrate it when you turn it on for the first time. You simply press play and it calibrates itself going from one side to the other side. And that's it. Basically the simplest app I've seen ever. And you don't really need this app because you can control the speed of your slider only with this knob on the body of the slider itself. It can be a drawback for some people, but to me it's more than fine. I won't mind using the app whatsoever. Everything is doable from the body of the slider itself. And finally guys, about the prices. So the E500 from Zeapon, the slider itself plus the motor without the pen axis, without the tilt axis, is $600, which is not cheap. If you want to add the pen axis and tilt axis, so the Pons PT head, it's plus $350, which almost $1,000 in total. The TopRig S60 costs $400, and that's the top price that you're going to pay, so there is something to consider, especially if you need this pen axis but you don't need the tilt axis. The TopRig is a pretty nice option. So to conclude guys, which one is better for you in particular? So who needs the Zeapon Micro 3? Only 3 categories of people. The first one, if you have a heavy camera, like 4+ kilograms in a setup. The second thing is that if you need the pan and tilt axis, which are programmable, so if you use something like, I don't know, motion time lapses or something like this, and if you desperately need the programmable pan and tilt axis, you need to buy this one plus the Pons PT head. This is almost the only option in terms of budget sliders which have this programmable motion. And the third thing is if you use a ton of slider shots with the macro lenses and you need super slow and precise speeds, because the Micro 3 can go slower than the TopRig S60. But it's 2.7 times heavier if you consider the whole kit of it without the Pons PT head, and to me the S60 is a sweet spot because it has enough travel. To me it has more than enough travel, to be honest, because most of the time I don't use the full length of the slider. Most of the time it's like 30 centimeters probably. And also it's really compact, lightweight. And look at this carrying case. This is it. It's super easy to bring with you, and to most of my shots it's more than fine, considering that it has the pen axis as well. And right now guys, I really do want to bring the slider to more of my shoots, because with the Zeapon I really had issues with my back because I was carrying too much stuff, and this is a pretty heavy slider, at least to me. So please let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Which one do you use and which one would you prefer and why? And if you did enjoy this video, please smash the like and subscribe buttons and hit the notifications bell. See you in the next video guys, which is this one, the comparison of the Sony ZV-E1, which is filming me right now, versus the Sony FX30. The biggest camera comparison, I guess, that I've ever made. See you in this video guys, take care, bye.